Hi everyone. This is going to be a short video about weeks 7 and 8. I already had the video online, but I noticed when I was playing it back, excuse me, that it was like it would pause or miss words. So I'm going to go ahead and redo that to hopefully help you to be able to hear it a little bit better. So let's just start as we always do with our learning outcomes. Going to create a web design as a foundation and development for your multidisciplinary unit. You're going to understand how that instruction differs from interdisciplinary. You're going to design a multidisciplinary unit to encompass reading with other content areas. Here are the assignments. Read Chapter 4, and it's about designing multidisciplinary units. And also the appendix, which has some excellent examples of interdisciplinary unit web design. It had on here a little earlier in the first video, it had that there was a PowerPoint to watch for web design, and that has been removed. You have everything you're going to need from the information that I'm giving you now. So you're going to use all the information for the readings, create that web design for the topic used in your lesson plan. And you'll find the rubric for the assignment is on the submission link and should be referenced as you prepare your topic web. And the summary section needs to be included with the content area web and should cover the elements of assessment, topic, and grade level. This is due Saturday. 7-3, you're supposed to complete the teacher materials, student materials, learning environment, and professionalism sections of the lesson plan. That is worth 12 points, and it is due, as always, on Saturday. Okay, here's that rubric that I mentioned. I'm not going to read that to you. You don't need me reading to you, and you're perfectly capable of reading all of it. Just keep in mind as you're doing your work to keep the excellent or the highest level of the rubric element in mind. Your discussion forum. Most of you are doing a bit better on your discussion forum than before when you first started out. Just please keep in mind, though, that this is worth 20 points and you need to respond to other students. If you don't do those responses, you'll lose 5 points for each of them. And if you don't keep the word counts in mind, then you are going to run into trouble with that as well. So next, let's look at that lesson plan rubric. So basically, you're going to be working on the last section that begins with teacher materials. And you're going to be finishing up the rubric, or excuse me, the lesson plan and submitting it on week 7. Okay, I had a couple of questions about, actually one, about the lesson plan and making sure that we're creating it based upon what's being asked of you. So I just really want to remind everyone that there is indeed a copy of an example of the lesson plan. So, excuse me, as you begin to do your planning for this week, this will be an excellent resource for you to go through and to read to help you figure out what you need to put in those areas. So just a reminder that it exists for you. It's in every week that we do partial lesson planning. Let's just go ahead and click on. So basically, this is the forum that you're going to be using to actually talk about the multidisciplinary versus interdisciplinary lessons. I have somebody that's already started on that. That's great. So remember, though, that you have to do at least one assignment per academic week to be counted present. So please tell that if you're being a go-getter to remember that. Okay, so your unit web design. You're going to use the information from your readings in the appendix to complete a web design for the topic you use for your lesson plan. The rubric for this assignment is below and should be referenced as you prepare the topic web. Here we go. And so that's pretty much it for week 7. Let's look at week 8. It's the exact same professor video because it's usually very short for week 8 for what you need to do. And let's look at the assignments for week 8. You're going to read pages 19 to 37 in your text. Your form is going to be writing about what's the most important information you learned in this class. It's due Wednesday, and there is no response to a classmate required. 8.2 is to respond to the following questions as they relate to the activity on page 37. Each response is worth 5 points, and it's due on Saturday. And then, of course, they ask that you complete, the end of course survey. Sorry, my mouth was a little dry this morning. So I think that kind of wraps everything up. I want to thank all of you for being a part of the class, and I hope that you've learned a lot about planning. And I just wish all of you the very, very, very best and most positive path to becoming an educator.